And so they're going to go on printing up money and giving it to the banks and financial people and sticking us with the bill in the hope that somehow, somewhere down the road, we'll figure out for ourselves how to get the economy going again. Then they'll take credit for it and raise taxes to pay back all this money they have been printing up. But when Obama gets up there and says the economy, this is more of that same stuff we were getting, glimmers of hope and green shoots and storms abating. It's all these euphemisms. The fact is the economy is still in trouble. And when we get to the end of this month and a bunch of quarterly reports come through and a bunch of ARMs start resetting and a bunch of commercial real estate mortgages start defaulting, we're going to be in for another major kaboinga. And when it hits, when the next leg of the decline hits, I want you to remember that it's the U.S. government that has been telling you, it's all going to be okay. We're just going to take $1 trillion from you and give it to the banks so the banks can loan it back to you at interest, and that will fix everything. And it hasn't. The jobs have not come back. Unemployment is still high. People are still losing their homes and their jobs. Homelessness is epidemic across this country. People are going hungry. The economy is not getting better. Forget what the TV is trying to tell you. Forget what Obama is trying to tell you. Forget what the corporatutes in Congress, that's a new word that my wife came up with for that one. Forget what they're telling you. Open your eyes and look around at your city streets, at your shopping malls, at your small businesses. Look at the vacancy rates. Look at how poorly the cities are being kept up. The local governments are running out of money. They're cutting back on services. Trash is piling up. Litter is piling up. The economy is not getting better. And now we have a U.S. Treasury report saying that the taxpayer bailouts to banks and financial institutions will continue indefinitely. They don't know when it's going to stop. All right, we're going to go to the phones. We've got Rick in Kansas. Aloha, Rick. Welcome to the show. What is on your mind today? Is Rick there? Going once, going twice.
Oh, there
Hello?
we go.
There we go.
Yeah, I heard when the phone kicked in. That was kind of weird. All right. I have two things I wanted to talk about. One was Walgreens pharmacy here in Kansas. I don't know how nationwide it is. Are giving out flu shots. And
yes.
it appears you don't even need a doctor's recommendation for, a risky shot in your arm. And I think that's kind of, dangerous.
Well, I agree it's dangerous because we don't know what's in those shots. We know that it hasn't been tested. We know some of the ingredients in there are of very dubious efficacy and possible harm. And we had the same thing here at our local Safeway market. They were handing out free shots, and I guess they're going to be back here in the next couple of weeks, but I'm not getting one. And it's the bottom line. I am not getting one.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah, and some people out there, could be allergic to it or whatever. If you don't have a doctor's order for it, that just makes it doubly risky.
And if you get sick from this, if you get Guillain-Barré syndrome, you can't sue the government for mandating these things. You can't sue the vaccine manufacturers. You're just SOL, in other words.
Yeah.
And personally, I think what's going on here really is a twofold situation. It's just a way of funneling taxpayer money to campaign donors who own pharmaceutical companies. And the other aspect of it, and this definitely ties in with Saturday's protest in Washington, D.C., is that the government is desperate to find some kind of a monster or crisis or disaster that is so horrific, okay, that we will all flock back to the federal government as our only salvation against whatever it is it's going to be. Oh, there's an asteroid coming to destroy Earth. We need your loyalty and your tax money to save the... Whatever they're going to come up with. When the Soviet Union collapsed and they lost their main villain, it was immediately war on everything. War on poverty, war on drugs, war on carbon dioxide, war on terror, war on old cars, war on whatever. They're just trying to come up with something that is so horrific that we, the American people, will be convinced that only a continuing, strong central federal government will save us from insert horror here. So that's what's going on.
And the second thing I wanted to talk about was Obama's miraculous job plan in the stimulus package. I don't think that one single job has been created here in Kansas over it, and the jobless rate is up. So he did a wonderful job.
Oh, well, no, did you not read the fine print? He's saying it's created 1 million jobs that we will see by the end of the year. In other words, they don't have anything they can point to now, but they got to say something positive. So they're saying the stimulus has created 1 million jobs that we will see emerge in the coming months. It's smoke. It's complete smoke. There's nothing there.
Yep. All right. Thank you for taking my call.
You got it. And we're going to switch over to Wayne in Canada. Aloha, Wayne. Welcome to the show. What is on your mind today?
Thanks so much for taking my call, Michael. I'm really concerned right now up here in Canada about what's called Bill C-6. That's going to second reading in the Senate tomorrow in Ottawa, and that is basically the Canadian version of Codex Alimentarius.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and their provisions in that are basically going to totally destroy our Constitution, democracy, and any concept of having rights and freedoms in this country. It pertains to health freedom. Mm-hmm. And our ability to get nutraceuticals, natural supplements, and so on and so forth. It's all done by stealth. They're saying that, of course, it's going to be something that will protect us from lead toys from China and nice things like that. So that's
but it's protectionism. It's protectionism. Over the last several years, more and more people are turning away from the chemical-saturated manufactured foods. They're turning away from aspartame, turning away from MSG, turning away from high-fructose corn syrup. And so the food manufacturers are trying to find some way that they can demonize the healthy food movement and basically coerce the markets to go back to buy their corporate-produced product one more time. And that's all
Precisely.
This really is. And the same thing.
Yeah, it's the medical mafia protecting their market.
Exactly.
Against any sort of competition whatsoever. But it's more dastardly than that, because this is exactly the time when we've got this alleged pandemic happening, that people need to be taking good care of their health and using nutritional things that will help build their
vitamin D and cinnamon. Wayne, we got to take a break here. Hang on to the phone. We'll bring you back right after the commercials, and we'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
What's really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. We're talking with Wayne in Canada. And Wayne, what's going on with the Codex Alimentarius and its equivalent around the world is the same thing that's going on with all these pushes for vaccines. The medical industry, and right now in the United States, we've got the most expensive medical care in the world, and as of a report issued just this morning, it's 37th in quality. It's declining rapidly, the actual quality of care you get in this country. And what's going on is these profit-minded individuals who've bought our Congress are sitting there thinking, it's messy and tiring and costly to treat sick people, so we're going to start selling medicine and treatment to people who are perfectly healthy. And we have a lot less lawsuits and a lot fewer problems, and we're not catching their icky diseases or anything like that. So they're passing the Codex Alimentarius to basically get rid of the alternative homeopathic therapy marketplace, because right now that's how they make their money. They're selling pills to perfectly healthy people to keep them healthy. And the medical establishment wants that market. And the other situation is vaccines. They're selling medicine to perfectly healthy people. That's what they're trying to do. And it's a huge, huge profit center. They're very reckless about the chemicals. We saw last year Baxter let some of their test vaccine out with live bird flu virus in it. There were some people who died in Norway from a test vaccine. We don't know if it was the same one. There was that horror story of Bayer releasing a blood clotting agent tainted with the AIDS virus. And when they couldn't sell it in the U.S. anymore, they just turned around and sold it to the rest of the world. These are not nice people. And so what they want is they want more profit at lower risk. So they want to grab control of the supplements market, bring it under the control of doctors and pharmaceutical companies. And because it's just more of the same thing, they can make more money selling treatments and medications to healthy people than to sick people.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. There's the thing that people really need to be aware of is that with this particular piece of legislation, there's so much power buried in that this could also be something that they could use to turn around and force vaccinate the public, okay? Of course, it says nothing in there about H1N1. It says nothing in there about vaccines. However, the general scope of the powers that they are enacting here are just amount to a medical police state being enacted where due process is absolutely gone. You're going to be treated as a common criminal or as a crack cocaine dealer for having vitamins or for wanting to, selling any of these kind of products. And we've had a number of these instances already where police are kicking in people's doors and without search warrants and so on. Well, this is going to just enable them even further in that regard. So it does tie into the swine flu issue, something that I've been very involved in the last couple of months, building a vaccine resistance movement here in Canada. I put up a website to that effect, if you don't mind my putting out the URL.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, it's falseflagflu.com. And if you go on the top, at the very top, we've got the action alert posted there. We need people to take action today because this is going to the second reading tomorrow in the Senate. Okay, so they've got all the background information and all the email addresses and fax numbers, et cetera, there. We've also got what's called the We're Not Going to Take It campaign. We need people to get involved in their own communities and start educating people about vaccines. I've put up all kinds of flyers and tools and signs that people can download for free and use them and get out and be leaders in their own community. That's what we need more than anything right now to start building resistance against this.
Okay, well, I'm looking at it right now. I'm linking it to whatreallyhappened.com. I love the